I haven't been here for as long as you guys have been Kansas City Royals fans. But I can tell you this, I want to win here more than you do. So I'm not trying to screw this up for any of you guys. We try to win every round. It's important to get as many big leaguers as you can out of every draft.
Alrighty, welcome to a special edition episode of the Royals Pipeline with KC Sports Network. I'm Jared, that's Kevin. We have a very special guest with us today, the Director of Amateur Scouting with the Kansas City Royals, Brian Bridges. Brian, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's 111 out here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah. For sure, it's a lovely heat. It's just a small heat wave. So,
Yeah.
Go living in the desert.
And I don't know what's going on. There's what do they call them? Haboobs?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're going crazy out here right now, too.
You all get stuck in those then? You can't leave the house when those are happening?
Right. It's bad.
Yeah.
You got to pull over in the car. I don't care to be involved in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're really excited to have you on the show. Just as everybody knows, the Royals just wrapped up the 2026 MLB draft. Really excited to dive in this class. A lot of exciting names there. But first, just kind of walk us through the Royals draft board, how it came together this year, and kind of what were some of your priorities heading into that?
Well, the priorities were, I mean, as you can see as a whole, and I guess probably just to be honest and frank about everything, we have to cut down on our strikeouts. We strike out too much as an organization. And that was one thing we paid attention to. Another thing was getting a little bit more on the other side of the arm, the left-handed side. So to be honest, that was another factor going into this, that I could land some quality arms from that side, and to get some athletes and be more athletic on the mound and attack the zone more with quality stuff. And definitely, as I mentioned, the makeup, I'd been hitting on that all year. Definitely we got to get better players. We got to get like-minded players. We have to get guys that are championship type players to all play together, push each other, A, and B, grow together. So the more you can get to grow together and move through the system, as quickly as they possibly can, to hopefully bring a championship to Kansas City. I mean, that's the whole goal in getting the job, was to try to do it once more for this, this city.
I love it.
That's great. Now, I mean, you talk a little bit about, makeup and finding players with that championship mindset and strong makeup. What's been the biggest difference? Because you've been involved in scouting for a long time, with Royals and other organizations. What's kind of been the biggest difference from players maybe you've seen and scouted years before and players today, especially recently in this draft?
Well, players before played the game outside of the game, outside of the organized baseball. There was always way more practice that went on. There wasn't as many just games. And I think kids nowadays aren't excited to smell their glove, or smell a baseball when they know baseball is just around the corner. And it's just become a business at 10 or 12 years old. And our game is losing a lot of players because of the amount of games 10-year-olds are playing, like 60 games. It becomes work to them. So instead of that, they look at it as, oh, I'm just going here. And it's not as much just for the love of the game. Mm-hmm. And that's very concerning. And finding guys who compete on the field, they stand out like a sore thumb anymore. It's like, this guy really wants to win, whether the other ones around him are just playing the game to get an education. This guy wants to win, and he's telling you without coming out and saying it that I want to play at the highest level and be the best I can possibly be. So it's getting harder and harder to find, which it is. I mean, there's so many outside, distractions that, go into everything now, whether it be social media or just, soccer, which I just got into soccer being out here. I mean, I called it a corner or a side kick, and they told me it was a corner kick. So, I mean, I'm not really educated into that sport as much as growing up. It was very easy. You either played football, basketball, baseball, or wrestling. Now there's all other outlets for kids to play. And, just finding kids that just generally love the games, just getting harder and harder to do.
Yeah, and you talk a little bit about the dynamics that have shifted, especially in the college game, with NIL and all these other things that have come into play. How has that kind of changed your strategy over the years when you have to look at the draft and look at these guys who might be going to a different school for an NIL deal, or these freshmen who will try to go to campus and can get like all kinds of money and those things from schools?
Yeah, those guys, it's this is the first year we found out, like, when you get on day 2 of the draft, you're negotiating against colleges now to sign players. So they know the money. Everybody knows what's going on. So you have to either get in the game and make sure that players you're signing really want to play the game. There are kids out there, whether it's true or not, are getting $1 million in day 2 to go back to school. So I only say that to say this. I mean, if that's your big league, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not passing judgment, nor should anybody, on whether you sign a professional contract or not. And if that's all you want to be, is the best college player you can be, that is fine. That is your life. And you should live your life the way you want to live it. Me, on the other hand, I'm just looking, which sounds cliche, a few good men, that want to really play the game of baseball. But age is against you. The younger you can get in the game, the better. Jack was fortunate, that whole draft class in 2024. I mean, there's a bunch of them. I mean, you couldn't have went wrong. You could have just pulled a name out of a hat and been happy with it, right? So this year, this year was the one year I think you better do what your group likes. Pick the players that your group likes. It was a challenging group of players to choose from because there wasn't really a lot of separation. I mean, again, like I mentioned before, you get under the hood of this group of players, everybody had hickeys. It's which ones had the hickeys you could live with, and your organization can as well. So, you got to change with the times, guys. I mean, it's we all want to take certain players. I grew up in the game drafting certain type players, and you get lucky on some of them, and then you get the ones that it doesn't work out. I mean, but you got to change with the game. The game has changed. There's, it's not run by, a bunch of old, dudes have been in the game forever. I mean, it's changed. I mean, there's people that come from Yale and Harvard and all over the place. They have different philosophy, and on trades is different now. So you have to change, A, and B, you have to adapt. But C will never change. The more pitching you can draft is cachet when it comes trade time. So I don't care what anybody says. That is the one stable that will always be the same.
That's true. And you guys really invested heavily in pitching in the draft. Kind of talk a little bit about how did your plans, like when you how did your plans come together for the draft? And was it something where like, hey, we have our plan and everything's coming together? Or was there a lot of pivoting on draft day based on whether the teams were doing?
Well, there was a lot of uncertainty about how things were going to go at the top. There's a whole lot of not miscommunication, but non-communication. Everybody was trying to fit in at the top as much as they could, and guys were cutting deals and wheeling and dealing. I mean, so, you really get down to the witching hour, and, I said, hey, there's nothing wrong with Zion Rose. I'm going to roll with this one. He's up. I mean, he's in a good spot on our board, and we're going to just go this direction. I'm not going to wait on any one person. to make a decision for me.
Yeah. No, I love that. And kind of talking about the pick of Zion there at 6, I would say like that he was kind of flying up draft boards. I think his injury too during the season kind of had him down boards just because of that just being out for as long as he was during the season. But everybody knew the tool set was there, the ability to play, the athleticism, like you mentioned, the makeup is 80 grade. Talk about kind of what it went into that and kind of what separated him from the pack for you.
Well, Sean Rooney was at the USA trials last year, and there was a time that he was 11 for 12.
It was nuts.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we Zion is a lunch pail guy. He's not the flashiest. His name has not been plastered all over everything. But again, when you sit down and he was moving, he was on the move, there's a lot of teams that liked him. I mean, they started talking about him right around where we were. And just because, he didn't play all year, shouldn't change him. I saw him in high school when he was a catcher.
Yeah.
But one thing he always did was hit. Like anytime this young man from Chicago behind the plate went to USA trials as a junior, what did he do? Hit. He never makes you walk out of there and go, nah, I'm good. I'm going to move on to the next player. You always just wonder, like, this dude just whacks balls around the ballpark. So, I mean, at the end of the day, there's not much separation, again, from any of these players. But one thing I did know, he's a winner.
Yeah. I saw him at Globe Life last year, and I think that was his freshman year, and it was just insane what he was doing to baseballs. I was like, this kid looks like he's been playing this game playing college baseball for like 3 years now.
Right. And it's like, and you meet him, guys. You ever meet him, sit down and talk to him?
Great.
It's not fake. It's who he is. I mean, our hitting court, the guy that does both for me, Joe Rakuya, was on the phone with him yesterday trying to kind of, what I call kind of debrief him on, just getting a relationship going. He's outside talking to him on his phone, and the mailman walks up and said, hey, man, we're really proud of you. You're my son's favorite player. He said, well, why don't you bring your son to the party tomorrow night before I have to leave? The mailman.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Come on, guys. I mean, he's different. That's all I can say about him. He's different.
I love it.
Yeah. What are some things that you're kind of hoping to work with him to maybe grow some other areas of the game when he comes to your organization?
Well, one thing he did, Joe and him had talked, and we talked last night, he knows what he wants to unlock. Like he knows he can see the ball really deep, and, and then he'll get caught, with getting the ball, but he's strong enough to get to it anyway and get the barrel to. So he understands everything he needs to do to get his full potential, which is, probably getting into his lower half just a little bit more, I would say.
I love it. I want to shift into the rest of day one here. Some of the arms, and of course, Dominic Batista, you also got as an outfielder in the 4th round. Just talk about these. I mean, I love these arms off the bat. Like Tyler Ray from Ole Miss, Jack Slidham. Both those guys have skyrocketed up draft boards coming up and leading up to draft day.
Mm-hmm.
Max Eel's just been a dude that went out for West Virginia. You kind of guaranteed them a win every time he was out on the mound. But I'd love to get your thoughts on like these guys that you all took here and Nick, some of the reasoning behind that as well.
Yeah, well, Rabe was one I thought wouldn't get to 30.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking with someone the other night who happened to come by our hotel. I'm not going to mention the team. And he was like, well, we were going to take him at 15. I said, well, that's your only shot. You don't take him 15, he gets to 30. We're taking him. Still, even when I said that, I was committed to it. Like I knew that's the direction I wanted to go. And there was a lot of, I saw him for the first time extended at Alabama. I think he struck the first 7 of 9 out. And it wasn't even close. I don't even think he got to a 3-ball count. And I'm like, this guy ain't getting the 30. And I can tell you what, that night, he could have been a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what, 90, 96 of just on the light end, 95 to 100
Yeah.
strikes both sides of the plate. I have an umpire who's a friend of mine named Dave Savage, and we used to work at Howie McCann's camps. So he hasn't called me all year, and he calls me and he goes, "Hey man, you on this rave, dude?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're on it." He goes, "Best pitching performance of the year." He goes, "Everywhere he threw it, it was a strike, and if they didn't swing at it, I called." And he said he was around the zone the whole night, which he goes, "You better take a long, hard look at him for sure." So we're very excited to get him. And then once we landed him, then we, gave me an opportunity to pivot towards Jack Slidham, who, I really loved the first day I saw him. And Jim Thome was at the game behind the stands watching him pitch. And I go back there and go, "What are you doing here?" And he was like, "You won't believe it, but Jack pitched with my son growing up when they were 10, 11, and 12. I'd coach them." And he's like, and I was like, "Well, tell me about him." He goes, "I'll tell you this. He's always throwing strikes. Always." He goes, "You can count on it. It's never been overused. And, you ought to see him throw a football. It's like watching the guys on Sunday, man. It's unreal. The guy can sling a football, and it's part of his warm up. But he's a rosy red cheek, just serious, baby faced, 6'5", size 16 shoe, loose, whippy pitcher that, I really look forward to seeing where his future goes. Then we pivoted on to Max Yale, who had a whole lot of love in our room. Lonnie Goldberg saw him at the end, and in the College World Series, and I was like, "What do you got?" He goes, "He's a big leaguer." Well, I mean, third round. Then you meet the kid, which is even better. He sits in there, and we're just trying to figure out who he is, because you only got 20. Speed dating. You get 25 minutes. So we're all talking to him, asking questions. And at the end, we're like, "You have any questions for us?" And he's like, "Hey, man, can I just stay in here with you guys?" And we're asking crazy questions. And we're like, "All right, we get it." We just, I mean, you just know where the kid comes from. It's like he's a competitor too, which really happy to get him. And then rolling on to Batista, I had four of my top evaluators: Sean Rooney, Joe Urquia, who does hitting and pitching, and Tom McNamara has been a long-time scouting director. I just couldn't get to him because the season ran out. He played right up to, they didn't make the playoffs. So I was going to go like first round of the playoffs or whatever it was, what have you. So they didn't make it, and they brought him to the stadium. And, he goes to the outfield. Well, we hit first. So he comes up, and, Sean's worked there before, then left and came back when I came over. And he's like, first at bat, he was a little nervous. First round, he was a little nervous. Second round, this guy was hitting him dead center field. Wow. And then to the left of the batter's eye. I'm like, all right, whatever. They got 3-5, 3-6 on a bunt. I mean, he's going to be put together. I mean, if the kid played all year, it's probably a different story. But, we're very, very happy to catch him right where we did.
David Starnes Allstate Insurance is a proud partner of KC Sports Network, serving the Kansas City area and all throughout the Midwest. If you are looking for new coverage or something that better suits your home, auto, health, or any of your other insurance needs, give Dave and his team a call. Elevate your coverage and be worry-free with David Starnes Allstate Insurance.
Heather Luce, broker owner, KC Local Homes, and Emprise Bank has been a great partner for us. They're our partner in Possible. Debbie and I hit it off immediately, and she was one of the first bankers that I would say sat down with me and actually genuinely cared about my story and where I was coming from and what I was trying to do, not just what kind of loan do you need, how much equity do you have, and she really kind of laid out my options for me and just made the process make sense, and I felt comfortable with it. Start to talk about it and think about it, a building popped up. that I wanted, that I could afford, and it was in a great area. And so they really guided me through the SBA. I used the SBA loan to acquire it and really guided me through that process and made it happen. I think that we talk about that a lot, where we wouldn't have a business. We wouldn't have what we have here if we didn't have the clientele that we do. I've always functioned out of a people over profits mentality. The houses sell themselves, right? Like, I'm here to help people and facilitate the transaction for them.
Moving on to day 2, who are a couple guys that you kind of felt like, man, we really got a good one here. We felt like people are sleeping on this player or two, and we feel like this is going to be a really good player for us in the future. Like, maybe a couple of names of that sort.
Well, start off with McElvain. I've seen him since high school. And then the guy, he gave up 2 hits to left-handed hitters all year that he faced out of the bullpen. So I was hoping to start off with him on day 2. And then when you got him, it's like, all right, we're going to have a little fun now. It's not like I'm getting my pocket picked every other time. I mean, you have years where you're like, you come into day 2 and the guys you kind of eyeballed. Now, I kind of line them up in rows of 3 at that point, and then I just go from there. But, just to get him to kind of get it started. Then I think I left my notes in the other room, so I'm sorry. You guys will have to help me here. To get him,
pick after him.
Yeah, that's Lagurnick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we just kept rolling with the left-handed power arm guys. And then so I was like, all right, we got 2 guys that our area scouts wanted, and we really believed in the ability and the talent. So right now I feel pretty good, right? So I feel like I'm 6 for 6. And then the 7th round, who was it?
Dylan Big U.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go. Power sweeper, kind of the washing machine, fastball run, big times, so getting him, we're still doing good, right? So you're just rolling along, and I'm like, these guys are all big, they're physical, they have good stuff. And, then we get to the 8th round, fill it in.
Hunter.
Yes.
Hunter Postle, or I don't know.
Oh, yeah. So Tom Kochman and Nicky Presto, they've been on this guy all year. And Tom Kochman will get a little story. Chris Sale was before spring training watching him throw, and Tom was there. And he goes, "Oh, funny seeing you here, seeing a big 6'6" left-hander throwing at your alma mater." And he smiled at him, he's like, "Yes, it's good to see." But, this guy is driven to be as good as he can be. It's like I said, he was a tread. And, he did on one request he had, he goes, "On my flight out there, please get me the exit row." Can't get anywhere else. I mean, 6'9". So, but we're glad to have him. And then, then we rolled right into Cam Johnson after that from Oklahoma, transfer from Wichita, 70 runner, can play short in a pinch, play third, second, center field, knows how to steal bases. All he's got to do is play his game and stay within himself. He's going to be a valuable asset to his championship team. And then we closed it out with the pitcher from LSU, right?
Grant Fontenot, yeah.
That's Fontenot. So Grant, fastball slider guy up to 100. Throws a lot of strikes, just probably needs to tighten up and be more consistent with the slider, and then he should be, well on his way. And then we dropped out of the, our first target was the Griffith kid, good bat to ball guy, can handle the fastball, 60 runner, play all 3 outfield positions. So there's versatility there. Who was next?
Tim Griffith.
No, I got him.
Well, he had Griffith, Lance Hartley.
Oh, Lance Hartley.
Lance Hartley, interesting story. He ended up having Tommy John early in the year. Nick Presto was at a game with Russ Bovee from the Astros. They were the only 2 there. Everybody was up at the University of Florida. And he called me raving about this guy. He's up to 98 power breaking ball. I really want this guy. Got to get people in here to see him. Of course, kid goes down his next start. And I was like, hey, man, you really want him, we'll get him for you. So don't worry about it. So I can't remember exactly where he's into his Tommy John, but, he's 6'4". He's got a good arm. I mean, he's up to 98 with a breaking ball. So still kind of rolling along here. You're still adding value and talent to the organization. It's just what you want to do. Even the senior sign that we fell out with out of the 10th round, I mean, he's got 2 pluses. I mean, it's hard to find. I mean, and then just to put that group together. And then I talked about Matt Clement's son. I was like, hey, man, let's just give him the slider and it'll be over with. Dad's slider will get it done from the left side. So he's still coming back too from his Tommy John. So he hasn't really been full strength yet, but we look for good things out of him as well. I mean, the list goes on and on. I don't think we really drafted anybody that we didn't want. It wasn't like somebody was shoved down our throat I mean, it's just not the way it goes. I mean, I was a scout for 10 years. And one thing you want to do is get players. I mean, that's the most important thing. And you want to get good players. I mean, are you going to be right all the time? No, doesn't happen. You're going to miss more than you succeed. It's not an easy job. But I know what it's like to get in the car and ride, almost 60,000 miles and get shut out and not get a player, or maybe get one player late on day 2 when it was a 50-round draft. But, now being 20, it's hard. So it's hard to get up and go to work every day if you're not getting players you want, So, but our scouting staff, the guys that didn't get players, it hurts me more than you would know.
Yeah. One guy I wanted to talk about before we got into some wrap-up questions is 19th rounder Hudson Devon. Just really high upside. I think we had him close to a top 100 guy on the Just Baseball draft board for us. But just talk about him and kind of what he brings to the table.
It's an easy delivery. First of all, it's a starter's delivery. It's fastball, slider, changeup, up to 98. Does it real easy. He just dealt with a little bit of shoulder muscle. It's no real like rotator or anything. And it just kind of derailed him. It was in his back more than it was anywhere in his shoulder. So kind of derailed him this spring. So, we took him because of the love, again, by the scouts and the cross-checkers that have seen him leading up to the injury.
Well, that's awesome. And, kind of looking at this draft and kind of like from the ones that you've done before, what's been maybe some changes that you've seen with the organization since like the first draft you were working with the Royals to like this most recent one?
I will tell you this, and I got to give credit to JJ with this. Hey, we got to change. We can't keep doing what we're doing. And without going into it too deep, we have to get up with the times. That's just not me talking to you guys, Jay. That's JJ as well. It's and those conversations go on. Analytics is a part of it. You fire your shots when you fire your shots and take your chances, but we got to get in the game. We got to get our own players to the big leagues, and we got to get them through AA. And I mean, case in point. All right. So I'm looking around. There's like 3 guys last year late in the draft. I'm like, guys, I want to get somebody that's got ability. It's got a chance of making it to the big leagues, right? Because you want to win every round. It's not like you're not, but you want to win every round.
Right.
So Greg Miller and Scott Melvin are sitting in the back. Miller had already come to me about the reliever was his gut feel guy. We took him in like the 7th or 8th round last year. I had Tommy John. Probably would have been in the big leagues by now. But anyway, so he goes, I ain't going up there. I ain't bringing up another name. You go up there. And so he comes up and he goes, hey, that Nowak kid's pretty good back, can run, play all three positions, can throw from UIC. I'm like, perfect. Just the guy I'm looking for. He checks out analytically. He's hitting 345 in high A ball, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The more of those guys we can stack up in our organization, because our risk comes from where? You guys are good. You guys are in baseball. Latin America, right?
Yeah.
That's where our risk comes from. So if we're taking a bunch of risk and we're throwing that on top of risk we already know we're getting,
Yeah.
you guys aren't happy when you're doing your shows and yelling at us and not right? So we got to change too. And it takes a little time.
No, I love it. I love that perspective as well. Last question I have for you is just looking at the full draft class here. So which one or two guys you think are going to surprise people the most in a year or two from now?
One or two guys are going to surprise people the most. It's a great question. I will say this because I always go 3 through 10, right?
Yeah.
Maxwell and McElvain.
Wow.
I like it.
That's
Two lefties.
Yeah. And then like kind of last question for me. You kind of talked about, hey, we're needing to change. And, what's maybe one thing you'd like to maybe say to Royals fans, like after this draft of like, hey, like just a general message to fans after kind of the players you selected and what to expect from them.
Yeah. Hey, to the Kansas City Royals fans, I'm not trying to screw this thing up. So drafts take a little patience and a little time to kind of come together. Sure, Jack ran right to the big leagues. There's going to be more to come.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a little patience and a little time. This class is going to have guys there. Last class is going to have guys there. I mean, David Shields doesn't get half the love he should get.
He's amazing. Been incredible.
I mean, and he's an incredible human being. Like, he might be the toughest guy we got. But I understand how critical it's been. Me coming over here, how heartbroken the fans have been. But one thing you have to have, JJ is making the changes that he needs to make. In philosophy, he's doing something every day to try. I mean, we've had so many injuries at the major league level. It's unbelievable. So you got to look a little deeper. And I understand. I haven't been here for as long as you guys have been Kansas City Royals fans. But I can tell you this. I want to win here more than you do. So I'm not trying to screw this up for any of you guys. We try to win every round. It's important to get as many big leaguers as you can out of every draft or use them in trades.
Yeah.
So again, we are getting up with the times. Just have a little patience. I promise you that. And if it doesn't work, I'll be the first one in my 5th or 6th year to get on my horse, face the sun, and ride off in it. I believe that every day. I go to work to do my job for you guys. I don't want you yelling and screaming at me. I want you guys to be able to hoist a trophy, run around the plaza, run around the stadium, go nuts again like you did, in 15.
I love it. Brian, I know it's a busy time of year for you. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us on the show, spend 30 minutes out of your day just to talk about this draft class, just to talk about the experience that you all had in the draft room. It's just awesome to hear it from you and kind of how the process went. So we were just super appreciative for you taking the time.
Yeah, man, it's great. And like I said, shared some tidbits with you, shared some of our own under the hood ways of looking at things now and, how the philosophy goes. But, hey, again, a little patience, a little time, a little rooting these kids on is the best way to go. So thank you guys for your time. Seriously, it means a lot that you take the time to meet with me as well.
No, thank you so much, Brian. We really appreciate it. And thanks for all your insights. And we're really looking forward to this draft class and seeing what they can do.
Definitely. Thank you, guys.